All right, so let's start off. By what's going on, Krebsy? I haven't cared about the MCU since Miss Marvel. Needed a solid run out of the MCU, regain my attention. Yeah, I don't care about that stuff. We're just talking about just like I don't really care about a lot of the topics we talk about in the news. I just read the stories and give you my opinions. I'm just gonna do the exact same thing, but with the entertainment news. All right, so let's start off with the first story here. Okay, and also for Nerding with 30, since it was like last second, we're gonna completely change this whole setup that we're having, because I'm using the exact same setup, obviously, as the normal show, which I don't want to do. So we'll get it going. Me and my grandmother started Defenders today. Crazy how Netflix did better shows than Disney. Well, they've been doing it longer as far as, their own original shows. Disney does really good in movies and stuff like that, right? All right, so the first story we're going to talk about is 2/3 of U.S. adults would rather wait to watch movies on streaming. This just off a title. Okay, again, I didn't read this article ahead of time. Okay, like irks me because you guys know where I stand. I love movies. I love going to the theater. I love watching theaters, movies in theaters. I love that experience. I just love everything about the movie theater, right? It would kill me if theaters closed down. We never went to a theater again, right? And we had to watch everything at home. Okay, like even tonight, right? Even tonight, my wife wanted to watch the Taylor Swift Eras tour, right? And while we're watching it, my son's like, "Hey, Dad, look at this, look at this." You don't get that when you go to a movie. When you go to a movie, everyone's like, it's like you almost sign a contract, right? Like you don't do certain things when you're at the movie theater, or at least people that have respect, right? Like you go to the movie and everyone just sits there and watches the movie, enjoys it, cries, laughs, whatever. But at home, everything's off. You got your phone in front of you, your dog's barking, people come to your door, like things are just happening. I hate watching stuff at home. Okay, I love watching a brand new film, okay, at the theater. So it says 2/3 of U.S. adults would rather wait and watch movies on streaming. Exclusive, a new Harris X study finds that a new Roadhouse and The Accountant 2 are literally every Netflix movie may have the right idea. Okay, it says a new poll, exclusively in IndieWire, found that 34% of U.S. adults prefer watching movies in theaters, which means a solid 2/3 would rather wait for them to be released on streaming. The competition continues between streaming services and Hollywood Engine. While it still sees evidence of loyal moviegoers in recent box office numbers, our studies show that 2 in 3 movie watchers prefer stream movies at home. Ali Brady, VP of Harris X, told IndieWire, despite the cause of some upheaval of the industry, it also means that the demand for content is only increasing. Nearly half the consumers say the stream movies weekly, more than 7 times as frequent as those who do so in theaters. Bradley also postered also found a 30% of U.S. streamers a movie or two or more times per week, and the same percentage of respondents said that they go to the movie theater a few times a year. Now, for those of us are more aligned with Nicole Kidman's opinion on the matter, this is an experience of watching. If you guys don't know the Nicole Kidman commercial that plays in front of the AMC theaters and stuff like that, it brings 59% of patrons. The next closest factor is the quality of surround sound systems that checks off by 47% of surveys respondents. 39% say escaping from distractions at home was important to them. Well, there you go. I'm in that category, right? I'm in that category. Theater recliners resonate with 37%. Refreshments capture 32% of the voters. And here are other in favor of theaters in decreasing order. Now, the movie is exclusively shown in theaters, 30%. Advanced viewing technology such as 3D, IMAX, etc. is 30%. The experience of watching a movie with the audience is 26%. And to watch a movie premiere or special screening is 25%. And nostalgia is 24%. Me personally, I'm in that 30%. I'm in that 30% for the 3D IMAX. I'm in that 26% for the movie audience. I'm in there for the 25% for special screenings. I'm in that 30 or 24% for the nostalgia factor. Okay. This survey also conducted online by Harris X from March 11th and 12th, 2024. It captured responses from more than 1,000 U.S. adults and weighed them in by gender, age, race, ethnicity, region, and income were necessary to reflect the population. The sampling margin of error was 3%, 3 percentage points, plus or minus. Now, and then again, the homebodies, to be fair, we can also generally relate to that group as well. So most 53% of those who prefer to wait for movies to reach streaming cited that the cost of the movie tickets as a major reason. 42% are also mentioned that the cost of concessions. While those recliners were pretty solid motivators for the theater crowd, even larger percentage, 40% of the streaming lovers cited that the comfort of viewing at home versus the in theater as a reason to wait. This is... Like, you look at the way we as people went to the theaters, like, obviously, way before I was born, you would see, like, people go to the theater. You see that old-time, movie films and stuff like that. When you see people going to the theater, they're wearing, like, a top hat, coat, jacket, vest. Women are all dressed up nice with dresses on and stuff like that, and they're going to the theater. That's like going out to, like going to a play, right? Now you have people that go to theaters are wearing, like, sandals, shorts, ripped jeans. People are doing nasty things in theaters. You know what I mean? Like, we're a completely different culture as we were when movies started to where they are today. Now people would rather just sit at home. And to me, it just, I don't know, man. Call me a little old-timey. But I love going to theaters, and I love just that moment. Okay? 24% said that they straight up are uninterested. We're not sure what the problem is. Concerns over sanitation or hygiene, like COVID and flu. Keep 23% of respondents away. 22% need to pee, citing the ability to pause the movie or take a break. Elsewhere is a study of 52% said movies should be 1.5 to 2 hours. The rest of the favor waiting for the streaming again in decent order are distractions from other members of the audience is 19%. Inconvenience travel time, theater, traffic, parking, etc. is 15%. Selection of films showing 13%. Inconvenience of theater location 13%. And limited availability for the inconvenient showtimes of 11%. And seat selection is 8%. So, obviously, there's pros and cons for a lot of things. But, again, I like going out to the theater, man. I like me and my wife, when we first started dating, now that we have a kid, it's harder to go out. And I totally get where the price is coming from. But we would go out to the theaters. When we first started dating and then we got married, we would go to the theaters 3 times a week, right? It was like $3.75, $4 at certain theaters that we would go to. And it was awesome. We just loved going to the theater, right? We would bring our own candy in and stuff like that. We would get concessions. We get drinks. Now we have to pick the right movie because the kid does to have to see it, right? We don't want to bring him to a movie that he can't see. Then you got to pay that extra ticket. Now you're paying for an extra person. Now ticket prices are 4 times the amount of price they were, right? Because now they have the recliners. Now they have to make more money. So now they're charging $12, $16, $20 for a show unless you go to a matinee show. So the price goes up and up with that type of stuff. And I get it. I don't see that many movies anymore. But I don't go see movies anymore, not because I don't want to go to the theater. It's just I'm not interested in the movies they're showing in theaters, right? Like, I went to go see Top Gun in theaters, right? I want to go see Dune. I was actually supposed to see Dune today. Didn't go. Okay, there's other movies. We saw Mario in theaters. We saw Migration in theaters. I saw Batman in theaters. I saw lots of movies that I love seeing for the first time in theaters. But now I'm not interested in Marvel, right? I'm not interested in the Star Wars films, right? I'm not even interested in the Marvel and Star Wars shows, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, what do you think? Where do you stand? Are you a person that sits that you want to go to theaters? You want always to go to theaters? Or are you one of the people that want to stay home and you don't mind being distracted or anything? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers over on Nerding with 30. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it very much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. So what do you guys think, chat? What do you think? You think there's a major problem going on with theaters, right? I mean, movies are still making money. If it's the right movie, it still makes good money. The last movie I watched was probably Multiverse of Madness. That's the last movie you saw? I saw Avatar. I saw Avatar in the theaters. Avatar 2 in theaters. I haven't seen a Marvel movie since Multiverse of Madness, but I've been to the theater. Saw Wonka, the new Wonka movie in theaters. It's not going to be, Travis. It looks terrible. But it's like a video game. If you like that stuff, go see it. But it looks terrible to me. Now I want to see Godzilla. What's it one? -1? Is that the one that came out? That's in subtitles. How was Wonka, the new Wonka? I liked it. It was a nice prequel to what Wonka was. Eclipse says, I think the last movie I saw in theaters was Flash. I regret that. Well, now you Eclipse, you have to go to the movies. You got to clear your palate, man. You can't have your last movie you saw as the Flash. Like, go watch anything else. Go watch anything else in the theaters. Oh, I love the old stuff, Travis. I love the Godzilla films. But the new one, I don't know, man. It just doesn't appeal to me. We watched the last Godzilla film, the Godzilla and King Kong movie. We did a watch party when it came out a couple years ago. It was bad. It was bad. My parents actually think the new Star Wars trilogy was good. Do your parents know about the lore of Star Wars, or are they just watching it as a moviegoer and don't really care about like the story? My dad's the same way. My dad watched the new Indiana Jones film. He's like, oh, it's pretty good. But he doesn't know about all that stuff, right? He doesn't know about all the stuff that I know, right? So he just watches it for what it is. He's like, yeah, he watched She-Hulk. He watched all the shows. He's like, yeah, did you watch that show She-Hulk? I was like, no. He's like, well, I liked it. But he also is not a fan of Marvel as a fan. He's a fan of the movies because they're entertaining. What's going on, dude? All right. The next story we're going to talk about. We got lots of stories tonight. I'm making the whole point of me, and this will be on Nerding with 30. Or maybe it won't. I don't know. Maybe I do it on here and then I upload those on the other channel. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about what we're doing. Because this will hurt my channel if I do it over here because this is entertainment and not gaming. I'll have to think about it. Are they recasting all the Avengers? I don't know what they're doing. We're going to have a conversation about X-Men and stuff like that in a second. So, the next story we're going to talk about. Okay, my dog out there right now. There's a police off, like a siren going off, and he's trying to sing along with it. All right, so National Treasure's Chance gets a blunt response from Nicolas Cage. So Nicolas Cage, right? Those of you that don't know, National Treasure TV series came on Disney Plus, I think back in 2022. I totally forgot about it. I'll be honest. Okay, I do remember talking about it before it came out and said it's going to bomb. And imagine that, it did. Okay, so National Treasure 3's future prompts a response from Nicolas Cage. Cage first set off to steal the Declaration of Independence in 2004's National Treasure. Great movie. Loved National Treasure 1 and 2. I thought they were just fun films. Okay, playing treasure hunter Benjamin Franklin Gates, National Treasure received a sequel 3 years later titled National Treasure Book of Secrets. In an exclusive interview with the Screen Rant, Cage speaks out the chances of National Treasure 3. When prompted about the development of National Treasure 3, Cage stated bluntly that, quote, no, there is no National Treasure 3. Check the full quote from Cage below. This is what he says. He says, here we go. See you. Is this what he says? Oh, yeah. He says, here we go. See, you're the one that brings these things up, and they go out and they eclipse everything else. No, there is no National Treasure 3. If you want to find treasure, don't look at Disney, okay? It's not there. So I don't know if we're reading between the lines here, if something's going on where Nicolas Cage is just done working with Disney, if he's, obviously Hollywood they wear their politics on their sleeves and stuff like that, right? They're for or against and stuff. They're very vocal. And also they've been blacklisted. A lot of celebrities have been blacklisted. Now I don't know where Nicolas Cage falls in that category, but it's very interesting him coming out and saying, no, there's no National Treasure 3. If you want to find it, there's no treasure. Don't look at Disney, okay? Because it's not there. So obviously they made a show of National Treasure and on Disney Plus, and it bombed dramatically. So I wonder if they approached him to do the show, or did Nicolas Cage say something down the road and they went, nah, we're not working with him anymore, just like they did with other characters, other celebrities, or other actors, I should say, in the past as well. And did they approach him to do the show, or did they not approach him and then something went wrong and then they recasted, made it a woman, made it a Hispanic woman, if I'm not mistaken, and the whole thing completely bombed. And we'll look at that in a second. Now, though the first National Treasure movie is now 2 decades old, rumors of National Treasure 3 have not stopped. These rumors particularly swelled up again in the reaction to the creation of the TV series National Treasure, Edge of History. Now, which aired one season between late 2022 and early 2023. Throughout this time, however, Cage and the rest of the National Treasure team have regularly provided disappointing updates on the film's development. Cage's most recent update might nail in the coffin on National Treasure 3, but that's probably good news for the actor. In recent years, Cage's career has been revitalized with acclaimed roles in films like Mandy, Pig, and Dream Scenarios. Unlike his roles in National Treasure, does not hold the same level of reverence of his performance. Rather than risk that would National Treasure 3, Cage's upcoming roles seem likely to continue his positive career trend. And recently released trailer of Arcadian revealed Cage's also dramatic role in the middle-aged father trying to protect his son from the apocalypse, and the actor will also feature in the upcoming thriller The Surfer, a horror thriller long legs, so the National Treasure viewers may not get the trilogy that Cage's recent works can celebrate in trying to dare different parts. So, look, I would love a National Treasure 3, but just like what happened with, I don't think we're getting another Pirates of the Caribbean with Johnny Depp with Disney. I don't think we're getting certain actors to come back to work for Disney, because right now in Hollywood, Disney is the bad guy right now with fans and also with actors. A lot of actors got blacklisted to work with the company. A lot of people got dragged through the mud because of their political views, and not with Disney. So I don't think we're getting a National Treasure 3 ever. I'll be honest with you. At least not with Nicolas Cage, unless it's decades later where Nicolas Cage is like old, and then he'll be like Sean Connery's age, and someone else comes in, and like maybe it's his son or father. You know what I mean? Like a type of thing, sort of like an Indiana Jones, like what they did with Dial of Destiny or whatnot. But who knows? What do you think? Do you think we see a National Treasure 3 with Nicolas Cage? Do we see any kind of National Treasure, anything, reboot of a National Treasure, sort of like what they're doing with other films, franchises? Or do we never see a National Treasure 3 and it gets buried and just the 1, 2, you can go buy those on DVD or see them on streaming services? Let me know in the comment section down below. Would you like to see a National Treasure 3 for Nicolas Cage, or you don't really care? And did you watch the National Treasure TV show that came out back in late 2022, early 2023? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Did anybody watch the National Treasure show on Disney Plus? Rumor is that he's joining some Marvel movie. If this is under Sony or Disney, I don't know. Well, if it's Disney, then there's no problem, right? What they're working with him. But the way it comes across of him saying, if you're looking for National Treasure, it's not at Disney. I don't know how to take that. Like, Disney's not doing it, or, you know, they have no interest in it. I don't know. Yeah, it had a show. Yeah, it had a show. That's what I wanted to look up. I wanted to look up the Rotten Tomato score. Oh, whew. It's not good. It's not good. National Treasure Edge of History, 38% by critics, 49% by audience. That's never good. That's never good. Seven out of 10 IGN? Is that what they... Did they really give it a 7 out of 10? Fucking IGN. Fucking IGN. Oh, man. Hey, better than the Hulk show? That shows a 0? My dad thought it was enjoyable. Sure, Indiana Jones has a bigger pull, but National Treasure. Actually, let's go back here. Hold on. I don't think I'm not comparing National Treasure to Indiana Jones. I'm just talking about like Nicolas Cage. I mean, look. Even the critics back then gave National Treasure a 46, but the fans liked it at 76, right? And then National Treasure 2, 36 and 67. So it was a fan thing and never been... So, and then again, this got a 38, 49. So technically worse than National Treasure 1. Just a few points better than National Treasure 2. But audience score absolutely hated it. Your dad's insane. My dad just watches stuff. I mean, he likes watching TV. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if it's shit or the best thing ever. He's just like, yeah, I was entertained by that. My dad's not a movie reviewer. He watches it and goes, yeah, it's pretty good. And then you're like, well, what was it about? He's like, oh, there was this thing. There was like these explosions that were happening. And there was that actor in it. He did pretty good, right? Like, that's how my dad talks about stuff. Oh, if you're in this through Disney's eyes, I think Disney would get more out of Indiana Jones film or show than National Treasure. Yeah, but if that was the case, then why did they make a National Treasure with the girl? You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, they have both these franchises. So he's a Michael Bay fan? No. He's just a average movie watcher, average TV show watcher. He likes watching wrestling. You want my dad to give passion? Okay, you talk about wrestling, okay? That's when he'll come out and be like, "Oh, dude, did you watch the wrestling match last night?" Like my dad will talk your ear off about wrestling. When it comes to films and television shows, it's like Blue Blood, NYPD Blue, whatever all the cop shows, detective shows. He loves watching all that shit. All right, let's go. When they announced this next thing, I was a bit excited. Right, we're talking like two years ago, maybe 2.5, 3 years ago when they first talked about it. Maybe it wasn't even that long ago. I don't know. Years just blend together. Okay, when they announced X-Men 97, we were like, dude, this is gonna be great. What a good nostalgia. Nostalgia is a great drug, man. We love our nostalgia. We're like, damn, I love that show. They should have let the show just died. Let it be. Okay. 30 years later, almost. Okay. They're bringing it back. And the showrunner, okay, is Bu DeMayo. Now, DeMeo also worked on the what was the other show? God, I forget the other show's name. Moon Knight. He worked on Moon Knight. There we go. Okay. He worked on Moon Knight and something else as well. Okay. Well, last week or this week, earlier this week, all of a sudden, he got fired, right? Got shit canned. And we're like, well, this is interesting. So X-Men 97 showrunner DeMeo gets the boot from Marvel Studios just days before the series premiere. Deletes social media accounts in response. Okay. In a suffering their latest in a long of black eyes, just days before the animated series revealed is set to debut, Marvel Studios reportedly fired X-Men 97 showrunner DeMeo. Okay, there's DeMeo right there. Okay. So DeMeo participated in the Marvel Studios animated presentation during the San Diego Comic-Con in 2022 on July 20. So it was 2 years ago. Okay, July 22 in San Diego, California. Now, X-Men showrunner confirms the Disney Plus series will portray Morph as a non-binary. Okay, so we'll have a little connection with the non-binary thing there in a second. The staffing shakeup was first revealed to the public in the morning of March 12th. The Hollywood Reporter, both Kit and Aaron Couch. According to the pair, noted that Marvel Studios reported that DeMeo was suddenly let go by the House of Mouse sometime early last week. At which time the company emailed the deactivate all the rest of X-Men 97 production team was made aware that he would no longer be attached to the project. So they literally just shit canned him and then basically took him off all the projects, right? No credit or no attachment, no nothing. Okay. Following this pink slip, the Moon Knight writers scrubbed the internet on social media accounts, in particular the Instagram account, which also has been using a provided production updates on X-Men 97. Okay. Notably, it appears that the addition to the public DeMeo himself was also caught off guard by the decision, as immediately prior to his release, he reportedly had completed writing duties on season 2 of X-Men 97 and was lining up press for the series and making plans to attend the show's Hollywood premiere on March 13th. And even when discussing loosely ideas for the third season with members of his team. Now, as of writing this, it remains unclear as to the exact reason why the showrunner was let go by Marvel Studios, as well as he chose to respond to the news by deleting his entire internet presence. Now, however, given the timing of this firing coming just a little over a week before X-Men 97 is set, finally make a debut, and severity of this response, circumstances suggest that whatever transition eventually led to the firing may be particularly egregious. Okay. While the result of DeMeo work in the series' first season remains to be seen, according to the now former showrunner himself, it will supposedly focus on the idea that the X-Men as outsiders, and as it read in Marvel Studios, hope to perform informed by his own experience as a black gay man. Now, he says, quote, I think one of my favorite parts of this is we're truly interested in the experience as a black guy, or black gay man, as in how it's going to inform the story that we're telling. Now, I don't know what that means. Because X-Men themselves are the most, diverse group of superheroes ever created, mutants ever created, right? I mean, that's really one of the reasons they were created, right? So it says it was also how we're going to make it authentic, whatever the hell that means, okay? He goes and continues and says, because really what you're talking about with X-Men is, I don't care what religion, your nationality, your sex, or your gender. You walk into a room full of people and you've gone, oh my gosh, there's no one in here like me. And I think that's ultimately what X-Men is trying to get at. He continued by saying, quote, we've just assembled a great team with really amazed directors, artists, and storyboard artists and writers, and just get this right, really drilled down to what I think X-Men is always going to be about, which is just, we talk a lot about the dream, social acceptance, and social justice. I think in just one sentence of a quote, I think he misses completely what X-Men's about. As he's explaining what X-Men's about, okay? Again, if you have to come out and say that, well, the reason this is happening is, look, they say experience as a black gay man. What does that have to do with what your experience is bringing to the X-Men characters that have been around longer than you've been born okay, and a show that was already created, okay, and then to continue here by saying, because it really is talking about what X-Men, I don't care what your religion, your nationality, your sex, or your gender, but yet in the same article, it's all about what his sex, race, and gender is, which is amazing, okay? So the first season of X-Men is currently on track to unlock is X-Gen on March 20th. Now, on top of this, we have another story connected to this, okay? So let me bring this up. Now, the X-Men 97 woke insult shot down after online backlash. Did we teach you people nothing? Okay. So since it was announced that Morph would be a non-binary X-Men, Marvel's show has also been facing accusations of being woke online, and now the series creators are speaking out against the accusations. Now, X-Men 97 has revealed that the X-Men, an animated series, which was spearheaded by Larry Houston and Eric and Julia Lindwall. Houston and Julia Lindwall also have spoken out about the new show and addressed the woke controversy. In the interview with Variety, both Houston and Julia also spoke out against the woke accusations about facing X-Men 97. Now, Houston comments and focuses largely on how a previous Morph as a character, stating that in terms of a show, in terms of equates to Morph's superpowers, okay? It says, quote, "For me, the word non-binary is the same as the word as a shapeshifter. Every character that is changed from the gender to another or from a human to an animal, that's just another word for shapeshifter for me. So then why did you change it? Why did we change it from shapeshifter to non-binary? I don't know." Okay, focused more X-Men messages and inclusion, expressing her frustrations that some of the more vocal critics of the show apparent progressive moves hadn't seemed to absorb the lesson of the original show, stating, continues to quote and says, "Did we teach you people nothing? Were you not watching? Did you not figure out how and nice to each other and how to get along? And very odd to feel like we're still dealing with the same issues that we were dealing with 30 years ago. It's painful." Then stop trying to push stuff. You see what I'm saying? We don't have problems what you want to put into shows. We have problem what you want to put into shows that people already know and beloved with established franchises and characters. Okay? So Houston and Julia continue. We're not only ones to speak out in defense of Morph. First of all, Morph is not a real person, character in a show. So speaking out in defense for a drawing and the message of the X-Men 97 is trying to send. Zane also plays Rogue in the series, also spoke out about the backlash of X-Men 97 facing over Morph's identity from some corners of Zane said. Now he says, quote, "The message needs to be spread throughout the world right now. I hope he can bring hope to people and children so they can look at the future and go, I have a place in the world. I belong. It's okay to be different." Nobody's trying to say that you're different is bad. Again, the X-Men is literally what it's about. A bunch of different people that have different powers, different races, different religions, different beliefs. They all came together under one roof, right? So similar, Julia and Zane supports X-Men's message in inclusion and also accepting people for their differences. X-Men stories have always been about combating prejudice and accepting others. So only makes sense the X-Men 97 would continue this message and include update elements. No, see, that's it. Updated elements that are relevant to modern discussions. And that is the problem, okay? That is the problem. If you want to take modern, relevant stuff, then make new characters and try to tell the story with your new characters. People have an issue when you take with old characters, established characters. I don't know how many times I have to say this, okay? We have no problem with people's difference, okay? We have a problem when you change the people, the IP, the characters, the story, the lore to fit what you're trying to make or push or talk about. That is the problem that we have, okay? So the producer, Eric Lindwall, also talks about how Morph's history in X-Men is the animated series, again, suggesting that the decision to make Morph non-binary was a natural choice thanks to their history. Well, he's a shapeshifter, so you could have just kept him as a shapeshifter. He attacks Wolverine and his close friends in the most dramatic way by turning into Jean Grey and then putting his hands into Wolverine's neck and learning for his kiss. This is what's as non-binary as you can get. The Morph turning into a woman and coming onto Wolverine to freak him out is always all there, and Morph's character. Now it's becoming such a social thing that I think people are more sensitive to how it is used, and this is the only difference. We didn't see a problem in reading him and didn't feel it was any different. Okay. Now, clearly, Morph has always been a non-binary, and his comments suggested by Morph won't be any different than their portrayal of the original X-Men. Now, the animated series on the subject of modern readings being more sensitive and identified issues shouldn't be overlooked that the portraying the character tricking others into physical intimacy. It's also unacceptable portrayal of nobility. Okay, it claims that Morph is kissing Wolverine as a non-binary is also you can get. Does it show some misunderstandings of each of the term meanings? Okay, so the creative team is also clearly standing behind the decision to make Morph a non-binary, while it's also clear that may still some elements of non-binary identities. It's also been misunderstood in the comments. Okay, so you can see a lot of this stuff that's happening. But here's the kicker of all of this, right? So the director got fired, and now it's come out that he got fired because he has an OnlyFans account, which I think is actually pretty interesting. So let me bring this up. Okay, so the reason X-Men DeMeo was reportedly an absolute nightmare to deal with on a daily basis. Now, this is the first you're hearing about it, right? But his behavior on OnlyFans has described by Disney executives as creepy. Okay, so obviously they knew that he had a channel, but yet they still gave him a job. They still gave him, like, he was fine when Moon Knight. He was fine doing all the other stuff. But just now, they had a problem with his OnlyFans account and whatnot. So that makes it interesting to find out. But with DeMeo being fired, with the drama going on behind X-Men, with even the drawings of the characters, they've changed Rogue, where they do this this drawing style where, one, they shrunk down her assets, okay, her ass and her breasts. They also make it like a uniboob when they draw things now. There's no defined, when you look at Rogue in the past, or look at any character, I should say, in the past, to compare to what they look like now, it's completely different. But, they even make more people look more masculine or less masculine or whatever you want. It's just like everyone's kind of just blurred the lines of what their identity is anymore. But they're not changing anything, but they're changing stuff. But they're not changing anything. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. What do you think of X-Men 97? Are you going to give it a shot? Are you going to watch the continuation? Because this is not a reboot. This is a continuation from the X-Men back in 97. Okay, I loved that as a kid. When I was in high school, okay, I watched it all the time. I loved it. And then when it got canceled, I was very sad. And I was happy now as a 45-year-old man to go, oh, cool, they're bringing back the show. But then you find out that they've changed some things. Now, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to watch it and see if it's just visual changes or did they actually change more, right? There was a bait and switch with He-Man, okay? Now, obviously, who are they making these shows for, right? Why are they bringing X-Men? Why are they bringing He-Man back? Why are they bringing all this stuff back? Because the kids nowadays don't really know what G.I. Joe is or what He-Man is or what, or what X-Men is. If they wanted to do X-Men shows, they could have made a new X-Men show. If they wanted to do a new He-Man show, they could have done a He-Man show or a different a rendition of He-Man. But instead, they changed what He-Man was, and they're marketing it towards our age group. But these are just my thoughts, like I said. Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. I mean, just saying X-Men was diversity before diversity existed. Right, Travis. Right. It's like he's a shapeshifter, but we're going to change the shapeshifting to non-binary. It's like, well, there's already a word for that, and you can just keep him as shapeshifter. And again, I'm all for giving it a shot. I'll watch it. But as soon as did you guys ever notice that? So when my son was younger, he watched Muppet Babies, not the original Muppet Babies, but the new Muppet Babies, right? And I didn't make a big deal of it, but he watched Muppet Babies, and I'm sitting on the couch when he's watching Muppet Babies, and then Gonzo comes out, and he wears a dress, and that's not the problem. But then in that show, he starts to talk about where he doesn't know where he belongs and whatnot. And I'm like, hold up here. What is happening? And I was on my phone, and I was like, did I? Now, of course, my son doesn't know any difference, right? He doesn't know anything is happening on the screen, right? He doesn't know it's happening on the screen. And I'm not making a big deal of it. I just make a mental note going, holy Christ, what's happening here, right? And so I could just look at it in two ways, right? It'd be like, it's just Gonzo dressing up as a woman and in a dress, and it's no big deal. They're playing dress up. But then the stuff that comes out of his mouth saying that, he doesn't feel like he belongs, doesn't know if he's male or female. I was like, okay, what's happening here? Because this is a show not for teenagers, okay? This is a show for, kindergarten kids and elementary school, right? So I was like, what is happening? Okay. Which one is Gonzo? Gonzo is the one with the blue nose, like an alien, right? He's an alien, and he's got the nose. Dude says art made for everyone is art made for no one. You've never seen any Muppets? Like even the puppet, like the Muppet Show back in the day? You never saw any of the Muppet movies? Yeah, they're great. They're great movies. Great Muppet Case. Muppets in Manhattan. The last one, where Jason Segel wrote it. That's a great one. My son still watches it like weekly. He could sing every single song in the movie. Knock off Sesame Street. Oh, Travis, you're sounding like you don't know what you're talking about. Jim Henson created the Muppets. I like checking out the series, but if it just disagree with the old source material, what's the point? And that's my whole thing, dude, right? My whole thing is, look, if you have a story to tell, let's just go with Transformers, right? If you have a story to tell about robots, okay, and you want to give a different vision of what's happening in modern day, then don't take Transformers and then tell your story and change Optimus Prime or RC and then tell that story. Just make a new series and then do it. But they don't want to do that, because if they do that, no one's going to watch it, because they're like, what am I watching this for? But if they disguise it, if they take a brand that's already known and then they take the message that they're doing or the stories they want to tell, and it's disguised with the thing that you know, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, right? And change it, then they already have a base of customers, players, whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll get out to this many people and we'll make money off of this. And then they're like shocked. They're like, oh, well, they don't like it. Well, yeah, they don't like it because this is not their Lord of the Rings. This is not their Star Wars. This is not their Transformers. This is not, right? And it makes no sense whatsoever. It's like you shit on the customers and then you want to know why the customers are angry. I just shit on your plate. What are you upset about? Well, I asked for a steak. So, speaking of Star Wars, we got a couple Star Wars stories. Let me get my Star Wars lined up here. I'm missing. Oh, here it is. I said it before. I'll say it again. As I'm concerned, the new Star Wars is Cal Kestis games. They're good stories. Yeah, they're good stories. Right, Krebsy. That's exactly right. All right. So I said this many, many, many years ago when they bought it out. And I don't know. I said on GXG, I want to say 2014, 15, right? It's like early on in GXG's. Most of you don't know, didn't watch back then. But I said that them buying it out, they'll make their money back real fast. Okay. So they paid $4 billion. Okay. So 12 years after Disney bought Lucasfilm, Star Wars is officially a $12 billion success story. Now think about this for a second, because right now everyone is looking at this going, Star Wars in the shitter, it's a dead, right? We always use this term in video games. Star Wars is a dead, like insert dead game here. Star Wars is dead to most Star Wars fans. But yet, 12 years after Disney bought Lucasfilm, George Lucas's official Star Wars alone is a $12 billion success story for the House of Mouse. Okay, 12 years after Disney bought Lucasfilm from George Lucas, and the House of Mouse has confirmed that Star Wars alone has made almost $12 billion in profits. In October of 2012, Disney acquired Lucasfilm for $4.05 billion. Since then, there's been a steady stream of Star Wars content, initially on the big screen and more recently on Disney+. Now, Disney has revealed a true scale for profits that have made. And what I think about this is, like, this is just them putting it out there going, even all the stuff you're complaining about and complain and do that you say it's shit, we've made 3 times the amount already in 12 years. Okay? So it says a new report from Exchange Commission reveals that Disney has made almost $12 billion from Star Wars alone, 2.9 times the cost of the acquisition. It was most noted that it isn't pure profit, of course. Individual projects had their productions, marketing, and distribution costs, and still, it gives an idea on just how successful Star Wars has recently been. Now, Star Wars is one of the biggest franchises in the world still, and it's important to understand that the movies are only part of its profitability. In addition to incoming from the worldwide box office distribution, Star Wars also brings in a massive amount of profit for Disney through licensing, merchandise, tie-ins, and there's even an expanding range of Star Wars books. Is there? Because I remember Kathleen Kennedy telling us there's no books to pull from, and yet for some reason for these shows and stuff, they keep pulling from them. It's amazing. Where's that Thrawn guy from? Oh, yeah, I remember. There's an expanded range of Star Wars books with reprints and audiobooks of classic legend materials. Star Wars Lego is a hit brand. It's also in its own right. And there's also other collectibles to boot. All these contribution to the franchise profitability. Now, it has been noted, though, that it's very difficult to calculate the profitability of a modern franchise, especially when you fucked it up as bad as you did. Okay, that flourishes on streaming. Disney Plus is depending on its steady stream of original content to retain subscribers, meaning that the value of the various Star Wars Disney Plus TV shows is uncertain. Now, The Mandalorian has particularly served as Disney Plus flagship TV show, was until they ruined it. This was a bait and switch. It was a bait and switch. With the premium release alongside the streaming service launch, and the debut of Baby Yoda drove more subscriptions than anyone had expected. Now, remember, Baby Yoda wasn't even supposed to be in the thing. And they always have to go back to the well, right? They always have to go back to the well, where I like The Mandalorian. The first season, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I was like, oh, I could go so many places. But they always had to go back to the well. Even though they don't like George Lucas's Star Wars, they always had to go back to that well, right? Because they can't tell their own stories. They have to tell stories with someone else's face on it and then try to inject certain things inside. Now, what is certain, though, is that Star Wars has proven to be a success for Disney. There have been stumbles along the way. Stumbles. Okay, Solo, a Star Wars story box office bomb, was also a disappointment, but that's because of The Last Jedi, not because of... Solo was actually a pretty damn good movie, but it failed because of The Last Jedi shitting on everything Star Wars stood for. Okay, and the sequel trilogy divided the fan base. Still, Disney it will be pleased with the profitability and optimistic for the future. So, where do you stand, right, chat? Where do you stand, and people watching after the fact in the comment section down below? Do you love the new series of Star Wars? Now, see, I'm torn, right? I'm torn. I love Star Wars. Love Star Wars. And I watched all of the shows on Disney Plus. I watched The Mandalorian. I watched Boba Fett. Boba Fett was terrible. It was terrible until Obi-Wan came out. And then Boba Fett looked really good compared to Obi-Wan. And then the Ahsoka show came out. Well, actually, Rogue One came out. Never watched Rogue One because the Obi-Wan show did what Last Jedi did for Solo's movie, for me personally, right? Obi-Wan was so bad that I didn't watch Rogue One for that purpose. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not falling for this. Everyone says, oh, it's a great film. It's a great film, but or a great show. And I'm like, maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I won't. I still haven't seen it. And then Ahsoka came out. And I was like, it was hit or miss. It was good. It was bad. I don't know, man. Like, Star Wars for me right now is a 100% miss. Travis in chat talks about Cal Kestis. I have more fun with the video game Star Wars stories than the stories they've told inside. Even the Star Wars Battlefront 2 single-player story is a better story than any of the new trilogy series that came out in 2015, 2017, and 2019. So let me know in the comment section down below, where do you stand with this? Yes, they made $12 billion, and that's not profit, but it is successful for them. They built a theme park off of it. They built a hotel that actually closed down, so it can't be that profitable for them because they can't market it the way they used to because they've literally shit on the IP. But let me know in the comment section down below, where do you stand? Do you like the new Star Wars, or where Star Wars is going with the Acolyte and all this other stuff that's coming out? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. What did I say? Did I say? I did say Andor, didn't I? Did I not say Andor? I thought I did say Andor. Oh, I said Rogue One, didn't I? I said Rogue One, didn't I? And Andor. See, I don't care that much. Yeah. That's how much I care about Andor. You knew what I was talking about. I'll have to make that change. I'll do a bad dub. When I say Rogue One, I'll be like Andor. Travis says, I tried Andor. It's so freaking boring. Here's that article. I don't really want to read the article. We're going to read it, but not like verbatim, right? I just kind of want to talk about the Star Wars, right? Those of you on this channel, I think it's on this channel. It wasn't on my other channel. I talked about how fucking stupid The Last Jedi was. And how they made the hyperspace tracking thing and just everything just fucking... They completely ruined what the lore of what all that stuff is, right? So Star Wars is turning The Last Jedi's hyperspace tracking into an even bigger plot hole. If it was possible, I didn't read this article yet, but it's pretty impressive if you can make a giant plot hole even bigger. So let's see how that works, right? The concept of hyperspace tracking introduced in Star Wars, The Last Jedi is being turned into a bigger plot hole than during the episode. All right, well, let's see. Okay. So as a 2024 early tease to hyperspace tracking, then one found that Rogue One has been provided through the timeline at the Bad Batch Season 3. Now, the final season... Now, see, I didn't watch Bad Batch Season 3. Okay? The final season of the animated show is providing a vital and wider Skywalker saga from the hints of Star Wars projects, Necromancer and Palpatine's resurrection, to its connection to the New Republic timeline, the sequel era. One of the sequel connection links the Last Jedi's hyperspace tracking, which makes the concept as it's found in episode 8, more of a plot hole than it was initially. Fantastic. Okay. So the hint towards the hyperspace tracking is found in Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3, Episode 4. In this episode, Crosshair and Omega crash their stolen Imperial ship on a planet close to Wayland after escaping the Mount Tannis. Okay, while there's an issue seemingly only revolved around the invading of the Imperial presence on the new planet, the Crosshair raises a potential pitfall to their escape attempt. Okay, Crosshair mentions that the Imperials could track the shuttle he and Omega used to escape despite the duo jumping up to hyperspace. Now, this is fucking good. Bad Batch takes place way before, right? Like, way before. Right? The movie takes place like 30 years after of Return of the Jedi. This is taking place like 50 years or so, right? Oh, for God's sakes. I didn't even read the full thing yet. Seems to imply that hyperspace tracking is something the Empire could do as early as Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3, which takes place only a year after Star Wars Episode 3. Holy shit. Oh, for God's sakes. The Rogue One hit, not coming almost 2 decades after the point of Last Jedi, taking the place around 50 years after Bad Batch Season 3. Hyperspace tracking is being established earlier than they might have thought. Oh, for God's sakes. Oh, my God. So, technically, Luke Skywalker, right? These people, man. These people just want to shit over everything. So, technically, Luke Skywalker or anybody could have just taken the X-Wing and just launch it through the Death Star. But no, that's not what they, right? Like, how stupid are these writers? Right? Now, they probably said, oh, we can make this so it shows it. So the stupid thing we did here, we can try to cover it up with doing something here, which just makes it more stupid. It just makes it more stupid. Okay? How does hyperspace tracking work in Star Wars? What the fuck do we do? We don't know. They don't know. Right? Concerning the exact how hyperspace tracking works in Star Wars, the method is fairly simple. The technology that began in Empire, but was perfected by the First Order, involved utilizing navigation, other devices literally throughout space and could emit signals. These various devices were connected in a way that allowed them to track individual ships, drive signals, and this means whether the ship entered or exited hyperspace, these devices could pinpoint where they were and allow pursuit the exit hyperspace at the same area. Okay, this was highlighted best in Star Wars: The Last Jedi, as the Resistance ships were fleeing their base on the planet, and then also jump into hyperspace to escape the invading First Order fleet. However, the First Order ships used the above technology to prevent the Resistance from traveling through hyperspace, kickstarting the slow burn chase, which is so fucking dumb. Okay. Why was the Resistance surprised by the hyperspace tracking? I don't know. Apparently their intel from 40 years ago never came through. Like, what are we talking about? Okay, the Star Wars The Last Jedi concept of hyperspace tracking was relatively new in the franchise. The First Order ability to predict hyperspace jumps not only surprised the audience in 2017, but also the characters within Star Wars. Yeah, because at that point, the only person that knew about this fucking technology was Rian fucking Johnson. Okay, because he's not a Star Wars fan. He didn't give 2 shits about the Star Wars lore, the universe, the storytelling, or anything. He's just like, I'm just going to subvert everyone's expectations, and I'm just going to make this happen. What about if we take the ship and we just hyperspace through? And they're like, that sounds fucking cool. How much is that going to cost? How much is that going to cost? It's going to cost about $10 billion. Yeah, go ahead. Put that in the budget. We're just going to shoot that through, right through the fucking thing. Okay? This turns out The Last Jedi uses the hyperspace tracking into somewhat a plot hole. Not somewhat of a plot hole. A big, gaping fucking plot hole. Though it can also be explained why the fighters off of the Resistance were surprised by the First Order's pursuit of them. For one, this is likely the case that the Empire did not have hyperspace tracking perfected during the dark times of Star Wars timeline. The dark times. You mean the light times. Is it dark times for the customers? Because it is the dark times. Right now, it's the dark times. Okay. So Clone Force 99 had heard whispers of the Empire has beginning to figure out how the track ships through hyperspace. You're telling me the elite force of the Bad Batch heard murmurs of the hyperspace where they could track you through, and in the 50-year time span, nobody knew about it. Boy, this is a fucking clusterfuck, huh? Like this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, right? The people that are in charge of the actual shows now don't give a shit about the actual shows. They don't care about the lore. They don't care about. They probably didn't even watch the movies to know about stuff that's already established. They're like, yeah, well, wait, how did Luke kill the Death Star? It doesn't matter. I watched season 1.5. All right, I didn't watch the full second season yet, dude. And I really like the show. I think it's good. I like the Clone Wars animated stuff. I like that stuff. Okay, but now that they just made a gaping hole even bigger, like they've took the stupid fucking Jedi, the Last Jedi, that the hole was gigantic, and now it's a big gaping. It's the size of Starkiller Base. Okay, that's the size of this plot hole now. It's so stupid. Like, think about this. So, Luke Skywalker learning to use the Force and all that stuff. The whole movie could have been over by just kicking it in. Hyperspace, shoots right through the center of the Death Star. Done. No trench run. No using the Force. None of that. None of that. Obi-Wan didn't need to die. Okay? Like, nothing. Why didn't Obi-Wan just use the Force? Knowing the technology, right? Someone had to fill him in on it, right? Where all of a sudden he could have, instead of going to the Death Star, releasing them from the thing to get the Millennium Falcon away, he could have just said, "Yeah, no, I know how to kill everything. I'm just gonna take a ship and hyperspace it in there. He's gonna die anyway." So he could have manifested himself, and as he put it into hyperspace, just went into the Force, and then it would have been saved. I mean, hell, Jar Jar could have saved everybody. I think we would all cheered. Right? We would have all cheered if Jar Jar came into to episode 4 and did the hyperspace maneuver. It would have been called the Jar Jar maneuver instead of the Holdor maneuver. So stupid. So stupid. Why? Why do they do this? They don't give a shit. They don't fucking give a shit. Here we go. At this point, I don't give a shit. 10 Star Wars animated TV shows ideas we think they should use next. At this point, it's just fan fiction anyway, right? Let's be honest. Okay. So throughout the Star Wars movies and TV shows, a number of side characters and smaller plot points have been added to the animated shows, our best way to expand on those stories. Okay. Characters like Ventress, Finn, and even main characters like Kylo Ren may not have gotten so much screen time as much audiences wanted, and that time is a perfect way to further develop the characters. 10 projects in particular, exactly the story's future of Star Wars animated TV shows. Right? So here you go. 1, Screen Rant says, Venture's TV show could reveal her perception of the Force. I'd watch that. As long as it wasn't fucking ruined because they didn't watch these shows before. Right? A lot of these people don't like to, well, we don't want you to watch the shows because we don't want you to learn how the actual stories went. Just tell your own stories. It doesn't matter what the past is. No, it's going to remember. Right? So that's number 10. Star Wars Tales of the Sith could explore Star Wars best villains. I'd watch that. Right? Like, they could do that. Okay. Hell, I would love a Count Dooku. I would love a Count Dooku. Right? Or even a Qui-Gon show. Right? Stuff like that. That'd be amazing. right? The Night Sisters, a Dathomir TV show, could show the Force-sensitive witches' origin story. Be interesting. Less interesting, but they could do that. All right, that's good. Hayden Christensen could debut as Anakin Skywalker voice actor in Darth Vader TV show. Darth Vader, like, here's the thing about Darth Vader, right? I kind of like where it is, right? I hated the fact that in Obi-Wan, they met, okay? That gap of when you see him in Empire Strikes Back and where you leave him in Revenge of the Sith, okay? I don't really need a fill-in story what happened in those years. It says when you watch The New Hope what's happened over those years, right? He's become a powerful fucking, villain where he's a Sith Lord and he's one of the most powerful beings in the universe and everyone fears him, right? That is interesting. You don't really need to fill that in. Number 6, a Star Wars bounty hunter show could bring back fan favorite characters. This would work very well. I mean, The Mandalorian technically could have done this. Fucking Boba Fett could have actually done this, right? Krebsy says Mace Windu isn't dead. No, he's not. No, I'll stand by that. Captain Thrust says, wow, Disney still wins no matter how much people hate the direction it took Star Wars. Proof that the companies like Disney will always win in the eyes of the normies. Yeah, because they make so much money. They are losing money. Don't get it like fooled though, right? They spent so much money on that brand. They built a whole theme park section, and it was popular in the beginning, but it's not as popular now, right? They built a whole hotel and it closed in a year, right? Just over a year it closed down. They don't know what to do with it. And there's a lot of other things they've done. Shows have bombed. The parks are not doing very well in that certain sections. So yeah, it's popular, but at the same time, it's not making the money it should be making because they ruined it. Imagine if they didn't ruin it, Captain Thrust, right? If they didn't ruin the franchise with the actual fans, they would have made 3 times that money easily. Instead of making $12 billion, they would have made $24 to $36 billion, hands down. Look, go to your toy store right now, any toy store, Walmart, Target, Toys R Us, wherever you live in the world. And look how many Star Wars figures are on the shelf, right? You're going to see a lot of same characters that are left on the shelf because no one cares. And they haven't made any new Star Wars character like toys, okay? They haven't made any toys because no one's buying the toys. So they've damaged the brand big time. Right. They brought in Cad Bane and then just killed him. Yeah, it's amazing. They really know how to really work with these characters. Okay. Number 5, a Jedi Survivor show could reveal every Order 66 survivor. Here's the thing. There's way too many survivors. There's way too many survivors. Think about this, okay? Obi-Wan and Yoda were supposed to be the only ones that survived Order 66. And now you can make a football team with as many people that are survived in just the Jedis. Then you have the other ones that turned to the bad side and whatnot. You can literally make a whole football maybe league at this point with so many people that survived. Okay. For a Padme show that could mirror the Padme trilogy books, that could be interesting. That'd be much more political, right? That'd be much more political. That'd probably be like an Andor show, right? Star Wars, what if a series could provide healing for Star Wars audience? I don't know what the fuck that means. Let's read what this one. Star Wars audience have long requested a what if show resembling a Marvel what if series, which takes characters canonically, stories, twists them slightly to show how events could have transpired with minor changes. This type of show would be perfect. Oh yeah, you know what? I want to see this. Here's what I want to see. I want to see episodes 7, 8, and 9. What if Luke, Han, and Leia didn't get shit on and killed and act like complete morons 30 years later? Can someone do that? Can someone give me a what if 7, 8, and 9 with Luke, Han, and Leia? That would be amazing. What if Rey, Finn, and Poe didn't exist and you give us 7, 8, and 9 with Han, Leia. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. 2, a Rise of Kylo Ren TV show would show how complicated Ben Solo's story was. I don't care about Kylo. Does anybody care about Kylo? You know that's what they're doing, Krebsy, right? You know that, right? You know that scene where he comes and revives her, okay, and puts his hand on the belly. You know that's what they're going to say when she becomes pregnant. You know that's true. You know it's true. And number 1, a Children of the First Order show who could finally reveal what happened to the kidnapped stormtroopers. That could be interesting. We've summoned Jones. Jones is like, I feel a disturbance in the Force. And he came out of the woodworks. If this was me before The Last Jedi came out, if you told me all these shows were coming out, I would have been like, this is amazing. I would love all these shows. Because at that point, I still had hope. I still had trust in what Disney was going to do with these concepts. And then here we are today, right? 12 years later, well, 10 years later, I should say. And I'm not excited if they did any of this stuff. I'm not. The Skywalker Palpatine hybrid baby. That's right. Last Jedi was lame in my book. It was terrible. Terrible. The Force Awakens is the best of the newest trilogy, and even then, it was bad. You got Mando. Mando season 1 and halfway through season 2, but it's a bait and switch. But I actually knew that. Because we actually reviewed Mando season 1 and 2, but because my channels, I deleted a lot of stuff. When I was doing reviews for Mando season 1, I said the Mando is not not Poe. Sorry, I forget his name now. Din Djarin, right? I said that he's not. The show is called The Mandalorian. I said, but he's not the Mandalorian. I said the Mandalorian down the road seasons is that it's going to be given to somebody else because you could tell stories from any Mandalorian, right? I knew it was going to happen, but it is what it is. I like the show, but it still doesn't. They still don't do it correctly. The third one's the worst. Jones. I don't know how to take that. Is that a compliment? Is that a compliment, Travis? I don't know how I'm supposed to take that. You're like, at this point, I trust you more than... Do you not trust me? Because you definitely don't trust them. Like, I kind of trust you. Is Mando Queen the main character? So you're talking about Bo-Katan, right? You could say it's hers as the main character, but technically Mandalorian, the Mandalores are the main character. So you could use any character. Any character you follow is the Mandalorian, right? But the bigger picture, yeah, I believe it's Bo-Katan. It isn't a complaint or an insult. It just is. All right. Just so you guys know, as soon as this stream is over, I'm gonna take it down off of this channel because it was supposed to be over on Nerding with 30, which is my other channel. So Fridays, we're gonna go over news stories of entertainment, of whatnot, and have like what I do in the morning shows on Monday through Thursday, right? We talk about gaming news stories and have conversations and stuff like that. I'm doing the exact same thing, but Friday nights, 10:30, over on Nerding with 30. But for some reason, my stream key wasn't working and whatnot, so I gotta fix all that. But yeah, So this stream on this main channel right now will go away right after the show. I'm gonna pull it down, make it private, and then I'm gonna upload the breakout videos over throughout the week over on Nerding with 30. Oh, I like Bo-Katan. I have no problem with what's it, Sackhoff? Katie Sackhoff. I don't have a problem with her, the character, or where the story's going. I have a problem the way they're doing the show. It looks like a low budget student film in season 3. It's bad. It's bad. And the way they're shooting the stuff for Star Wars, it feels even worse because you could tell that their budgets are too high and they're using the room, that circle room that they film everything in, and it just doesn't look good anymore. Yeah, the pacing was terrible. It just overall, it's just not a good solid thing. And they also film it like it's a television show with commercials, which it's not. Like, you could tell the story you want. Ahsoka had bad pacing as well. There's just long periods of time as they're talking that just, you know what I mean? Like, it's so bad. Hardcore fans need to abandon Star Wars. Disney's taking it to into a new direction, and we not want that. That is facts. Yeah, I'm not happy about where they're going with Star Wars. If you want to tell older stories, but the problem is I don't think they could tell a lot of stories in Lucas's world. Hence why they're trying to do the High Republic and stuff like that. Look, I'll come back to Star Wars as long as they tell good stories, but their stories have been absolutely terrible. The people that are making the Marvel films, the people that are making the Star Wars films, they don't know. They literally tell them not to read the or watch the movies, read the books. They tell them not to do any of it. They make a Mario film, they're like, don't read the comics. All right, Lizzo. Jesus fucking Christ. How do you screw up Mando? Sir, you could try an entire episode with Jack Black. The Obi-Wan show. The Obi-Wan show is the worst. And Ewan McGregor's like, I'm waiting for season 2. God, I hope not. I hope not. Ahsoka was really... I have a video over on Nerding with 30. I vent the entire time about the Ahsoka show. You can go watch that. Speaking of people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. Right? Speaking of people that don't know what they're doing, DC is not interested in making any new Wonder Woman movie right now, despite 2017's $800 million success. People have... I don't understand. I don't understand. Not only is Gal Gadot, I mean, she's fucking gorgeous, let's be honest, right? She's a beautiful woman, okay? And I think she was Wonder Woman. Like really, really done well. Like, I thought the first Wonder Woman film was awesome. Awesome. Okay? And then they came out with Wonder Woman, what was it, 1988, I think it was? And that was a piece of shit. She was still good as Wonder Woman, but the bad writing in that was just terrible. And now we get what's his name? James Gunn's DC redone universe where he had a reboot or whatever. Even though they have an Elseworlds and they still released Aquaman because they couldn't let it go. They still did Flash. I don't know what happened in Flash, so I don't know but they're not doing anything with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman is one of the DC's most successful releases, but DC is reportedly not interested in making the new movie for the time being. Okay? After grossing $800 million worldwide in 2017, Wonder Woman, it's one of DC's most successful movies to date. But despite this, DC reportedly uninterested in making a new movie of Wonder Woman became one of the most critical acclaimed DC Universe Online movies upon release, even boasting the highest Rotten Tomatoes score of any movie in the DC Universe timeline. And Patty Jenkins, directed the franchise, was in line to receive a third installment before the DC Universe was finally brought into halt. Do you know why the first one was good? Patty Jenkins didn't write it, just directed it. Then they gave her writing credits for the second film, and it was absolute garbage. Stick with directing. You don't need to write, okay? You can buy a house and cars and stuff with the directing money that you get. You don't need a second credit and get paid for your writing because your writing absolutely was garbage, okay? Yet Patty Jenkins also seemed clarified to taking pictures and podcasts on the comic book that DC is not interested in doing any Wonder Woman for the time being. This was after confirming that she was not returning to direct another Wonder Woman movie for the time being, but probably easily forever. Before stating that James Gunn and Peter Safran, DC Universe, had monumentally task ahead. Despite this, Jenkins is supportive of their vision, stating, well, of course she has to be. She wants to get a job just in case, right? This quote, James Gunn and Peter Safran have the following of their own heart into their own plans. So I don't know if this is why or what they're planning to do or doing or why. So I have a sympathy for what a big job it is. They also follow their hearts, and they also have to do what they're interested in and what they've got planned. Okay, so I don't know, man. I think it's just dumb that they have no plans for Wonder Woman. Like, literally, the last time you saw Wonder Woman was in what, Shazam 2? That's the last time you see her, at the end of Shazam 2. Which is like, seriously? That's the last time you're going to see her? Wonder Woman 1988 was terrible. She literally rapes a man. She rapes a man. Okay, inside that movie. That wasn't even the guy that she loved. It was like he was in this other guy's body. Like, terrible, right? And the funny part is, it was a shitty movie and it had the Mando in it. Okay? As the bad guy. And it was just like, what a stupid concept it was. Such a stupid concept. Okay, you take one of the best movies, maybe, I would have to say, maybe one of the better, maybe not the best, one of the better, I'm not even talking about financially wise. I'm talking about just Wonder Woman is a complete and utter, like, just a fantastic superhero film. Okay? And then they go from, like, best film to shittiest film to, yeah, we're not going to use her anymore. Like, what a waste. What a waste of characters they've done for the DC Universe. Best part of Momoa is rumored to be playing Lobo in James Gunn's universe. It's so stupid that that's happening as well, right? Like, great. So, and you know where I stand about this, Krebsy. I hate, like, if you wanted to move over to Marvel, cool, right? But he already played a character in this universe, and now I get it. It's a different universe. But it's like he already played Aquaman, and now he's playing Lobo. Like, how do you not see it? Like, Affleck playing Daredevil and then coming over to Batman, fine. Right, Eddie? It's like, is there no other actors in the world that could play the part? Like, none. There's nobody on planet Earth. You have to pick the same guy that was another major superhero. You're gonna bring him in as the other person. I don't know, man. I'm very skeptic of what James Gunn can do. I hope Superman's good. They just started filming it. I hope Superman is good. But to ruin this, she could have played Wonder Woman for like another 3. You could have done 6 films with this woman by now. Okay. Here's another reason I don't understand why studios don't do this more. While they're filming one movie, they should really film 2 movies at the same time. Okay? And for this purpose and this purpose only. Actors age and they take 3 to 5, sometimes 8 years between movies to film certain things, right? And when you have an actor that's young, okay, and that can play the part for quite a bit. They should film it as fast as they could possibly can. They don't have to release them right away. Okay, they can put them on the shelf and then release them after the fact, but then they would have more time with that actor. I don't know, but you know, they have no confidence in any of their stuff. So, and I hate it, Rose. I hate it. But you got to remember, Marvel did it, but Marvel wasn't making Deadpool, right? One was made by Fox, one was made by Sony, correct? No, sorry, one was made by Marvel and the other one was made by Fox. That's why they did that. With AI, you can make infinite movies with the actor. If you even need an actor, yeah, you just digitize them inside there, for sure. I think it's always bad though when they do it that way. Give me 1 second. I'd turn my fan on. Right, and now Fox is under the Disney umbrella. I hate that they take, and I don't know if you've been here before when I talk about this, Rose, when we used to talk about this type of stuff. I hate that they take actors and move them from one superhero to the next. I hate that Chris Evans played Johnny Storm with the Fantastic Four, but that was with Fox, right? And then he played Captain America. I didn't like it when they casted him as it. Now, obviously, he's a better Captain America than he was Johnny Storm. Okay? But I still hate the fact that they do that. I hate it. I hate when they take a character that's a known icon, okay, and then they make him be a character. Now, when Fantastic Four came out, there was no Marvel Cinematic Universe and stuff like that. I don't like it, but I understand it happens. Okay? Time is it? 12 o'clock? All right, we got a couple. Do one more story. We'll do one more story. All right. The last one, or I should say the next one, is about Fallout. About the Fallout series. It says that would be the best thing. Fallout game director one rule for TV shows revealed by EPS. Okay. So Fallout TV show exclusive producer Robinson and Lisa Joy explained to game director Todd Howard one rule for adaptation. Okay. The executive producer of the upcoming Fallout TV series revealed that Todd Howard one rule for upcoming series. Howard is the director of the Fallout games, notable for his consistent defense for the game series mechanics, including the simplistic catchphrase, "It just works." Now, after maintaining the popularity of his game series, Fallout is getting a TV adaptation that's slated to release on April 11, 2024. Now, I've commented about the trailer on GXG and just in my normal streams. I actually think it looks pretty interesting. I'm actually excited to see it when it comes out. It's going to come out all at one shot. I don't have to wait week after week, so we're going to watch it and see if we like it. Now, the executive producer, Robinson, and also Lisa Joy explained that Howard's rule for the TV series is speaking with Special Effects Magazine and Games Radar. Robinson said that Howard cared that the Prime Video series did not contradict any endings that were in the game. Now, Joy added for the first reason, for that reason, they felt that it would also be better to tell a new story set in the Fallout world, which also would be best honored the game's experiences. Okay. Let's also check out a full quote by Joy. She says, "We felt like it would also be the best thing to honor the game's experiences and the most truthful. If we needed to adapt one specific game, it would not have been truthful because of the open world game. Everyone's experience is different, so we have to take that in any setups of any of the games and it's just done it straightforwardly. A lot of gamers would like it, and this is not the order that I played it in." Okay. So Fallout is an open world game, meaning that it allows players to explore a vast Earth and also interact with different elements within the post-nuclear landscape. While the game does have a story and cutscenes, players can complete quests and discover parts of the world in copious permutations, making the exploration of the universe entirely different. Now, when he says the universe, the person that's writing this doesn't even know that's a small little area. But anyway, this is the joy refers to when he says the gamers would like that, and that's not the order I played it in. Okay, because it's an open world nature in the game, it poses a challenge for the straightforward Fallout adaptation. Unlike The Last of Us, which is a third-person action adventure game, Fallout does not have a strictly defined chronologically. With also the video game adaptation elements like this, downloadable content, the side quests become a feat to handle when it's considering the adaptation, but open world games pose a particular challenge. Now, for this reason, adapting the Fallout show as universe is entirely new plot, and characters will also likely end up being a right call. Because of this open world game, it also has its first iteration in 1997, where there's plenty of world building elements of the Fallout games to build without needing to use a specific protagonist from the games. With Fallout trailer, it also teases the elements of gamers who watch the show or still see some familiar aspects. And this is what I kind of like about the show. So, again, we talk about how Star Wars gets screwed up because they want to change things, okay? What they're doing here is, I believe this takes place 200 years after the, I think Fallout 76, if I'm not mistaken, right? So they don't have to stay so true to what it is, okay? Now, Star Wars, for instance, picked 30 years after. Well, why did they pick 30 years after? Well, they picked 30 years after so they could bring the old characters back to get nostalgia bait you to come back in, right? This is why they did what they did with Star Wars. They knew what they were doing. They marketed you in the movie with Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Princess Leia, and then they killed them off one by one, and then Carrie Fisher literally died, God rest her soul, but she died in the movie and also in real life. Now, they never put them on the screen together, but they knew exactly what they were doing. They were taking it because they knew that's what would sell the thing. This is an adaptation of the Fallout series. Now, this also takes place 200 years after, but what they are doing is doing a lot of references from the video games, so it's not exactly to it. Now, the problem with Halo TV series is they're not doing exactly what Master Chief is. They're not following it verbatim, and that's why a lot of fans are upset about the Halo series. With this, they don't have to do it verbatim, exactly how the thing, but if they continue to keep the lore of like what Fallout is and what the ghoul is, right, and what the characters from the actual Fallout shelters come out of, right? If they keep true to what the storytelling was happening in the video games, they could tell the stories they want because the stories from Fallout, each person has their own experience. They're not taking that main character like a Master Chief, like a Joel from Last of Us. It's just a generic character that you're controlling in a game, and it's your story. So they're taking basically their character that they created, and they're taking it through a story. So that's the way it is. I think it's pretty smart the way they're doing it for the Fallout series compared to another series. Like, if they come out with the God of War series, which they are, you got to follow Kratos, right? That's the main character. So you better be really tried and true to that character, where there's no character here that they have to follow, but the world building of Fallout needs to be spot on and do kind of callbacks to what the fans are, because the fans are going to be the ones that watch this show, and then everybody else is like, oh, I don't know what Fallout is. Oh, it's a video game? I didn't know that. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Where do you stand about this Fallout series? Is it okay that they adapt this to be more, easygoing and just kind of call back little Easter eggs and stuff like that? Or do you want them to be, no, this happened in, Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. I would like more glances towards that stuff, but nothing concrete. And I think that's why this show will be more successful than any other of the shows in the past that try to adapt from a video game to a TV show. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. What do you think, chat? Do you think this show is gonna be good? I think it's gonna be good. I do. I think the show's gonna be really good because it's not so attached to it. I want Fallout set 1,000 years after the bombs. It's called Starfield. I'm gonna watch it after the show is over. Well, the show is it comes out all in one shot, dude. April 11th, the whole episodes are all coming out. I think there's 8 episodes. Yeah, visually it looks good, Eclipse. Visually it does look good. I think it'll be good, but I don't know how much weight the Fallout franchise actually has. What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Mash? You're saying just like how much strength like the Fallout game universe has, or are you saying like the weight of if they keep it tried and true to what it is? Like, you don't think the Fallout franchise is popular enough to be successful? Is that what you're saying? By weight? I think it's going to do surprisingly well. I think it'll do surprisingly well only because for some reason, like the post-apocalyptic type stuff, really like a lot of people like watching that type of stuff, right? Like obviously it's fantasy, but it's not the fantasy like dragon fantasy type of thing, you know what I mean? Prime Video has to do better than Lord of the Rings series. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Like if it's the same show, wasn't Fallout, how big of a difference would the viewership be? Well, that's where the Fallout, like the crowd that likes Fallout. And you got to remember, video games is the #1 piece of entertainment. There's a lot of people that played Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, okay? And those people also watch television. And now that they have a Fallout show, that's the baked-in audience. The baked-in audience is the people that played the video game and they're going to go watch it. Then they're going to get the other people that don't know what Fallout is, didn't even know it was a video game, okay? And they'll watch the show and go, "Wow, this is a pretty good show," right? So they're getting the baked-in audience to give it a shot, and then they're going to get the other people, that stragglers that come in and be like, "Oh, what's this?" The show lives or dies on if the main character can be attached to the audience because the show can't be carried IP alone. But couldn't you say the same thing for The Walking Dead when it came out, right? Because The Walking Dead was just a comic book series or a novel, right? Basically a graphic novel. And they spun that and it was very popular, and then they spun it off to like 3 different like spin-offs and whatnot, right? That was even more of a niche market, right? Because zombies themselves are a bigger market, but the Walking Dead comic book was a very niched market. And it turned out to be very successful. Why? Because it was a good show. It was done well, the writing was done very well, the characters were done very well. The first 2-3 seasons were fantastic. Mashes, I agree with you, but I think the power of the IP differs from franchise to franchise. It's not just how big the player base is, but the actual attachment to the IP, character story, etc. Sure, and I think we're kind of saying the same thing, though, Mash. I think the reason they picked the Fallout series, right? Like, what do you think's bigger, right? Obviously, one's a movie coming out and one's a television show. Which one do you think can pull more weight? The Borderlands movie or the Fallout TV show? Right? I think Fallout TV series will do much better than the Borderlands movie. Now, do I think if Borderlands was a TV show, would it do better than the movie itself? I do. And the characters in The Walking Dead Season 1 lacked attachment value and also would have failed. Sure. But a lot of people that watched The Walking Dead, they were just interested in then the more characters they added, right? Because you were only following Grimes from the beginning. And then you meet Glenn and so on and so forth. So if they could do like type of same thing in the Fallout series where you're following Lucy, I think her name is, and then all of a sudden now you meet Maximus, and then you meet the Ghoul, and then they meet up together. Again, the writing is a big part. I think if the writing can come into and capture you within the first 3 episodes, a TV series, the first 3 episodes can make or break the whole show for you. Yeah, probably the Fallout TV show, probably. Fallout show is going to have an appeal period, and Fallout, no question. I just think you're going to get the people that don't even know it's a game, and they'll be like, wow, that's a good show, Fallout show. And they'll be like, Fallout, isn't that a TV show? Isn't that a video game? They're like, oh, I don't know, is that a video game? Well, regardless of the movie, Dupless, I'm talking about the brand itself, just the IP itself. Not based on the looks, just the IP. The first 3 seasons of Walking Dead, some of the best show writing ever. Yeah, that's because they were following the novels or the graphic novels. What's going on, Argus? What's going on, Vandal? Fallout is post-apocalyptic, which is none Fallout fans love it. It'll be successful in the casuals just because of that. I think the same way, Vandal. I think Fallout people just like that doom and gloom, like our world could be this, right? There's something about like the post-apocalyptic thing, and that's why I brought up Walking Dead, right? The post-apocalyptic in a different type of way. I still think the woman who played Jessica Jones would be great in the Fallout character. Oh, she's yeah. I know who you're talking. I forget her name. I'm interested to see what the I think they showed a little too much in the edit that they showed for Fallout, but I think it's going to do good. I think the girl, she comes across as this naive person that's been in a vault her whole entire life, and then when she comes out, just based on the trailer, she's like, I've been out of the vault for like, a couple hours and everyone's trying to kill me. Right? She grows up real fast. It's a little funny. You know what I mean? Like the amount of humor based on what it is. It's like serious, but at the same time, it's funny. Which is the big part about Fallout, the humor. If they can capture that Fallout humor from the games into the show, that's big, dude. I hope it's good. Is that her name, Christina Ritter, from Jessica Jones? Is that John Ritter's daughter, or just not related? Let's see. American actress. She came to prominence starring in Jane, MCA drama. Parents. No, it's not. No, just the same last name, but not her father. No. Gary Ritter is her dad. Shows these days live or die. If the lore is good, does Fallout have the depth of the lore? Generally asking. I'm not that knowledgeable of the Fallout lore. Yeah, I think it does. I think it has plenty of, because you could always tell stories and do a lot of flashbacks in the Fallout to go like, even though it takes place 200 years, they could always go back, and I think they are, right? You're in the present day, and then they can kind of go back and show you how it happened. Different time, right? The ghoul is going to be that connection point to 200 years ago because he's going to be old. The main characters from the game, the companions, Nick Strong, etc. It actually got really deep lore. The characters that you see though, Dupless, they're not the same characters, but they still the same characters, right? Like the Brotherhood, Maximus, the guy who plays Maximus, you know it from the games, but there's the timeline's way farther apart. It's 200 years after I think Fallout 76, I think, right? So you connect those points as the fan of the games, going, "Oh, I know the Brotherhood," right? And then you look at the ghoul and go, "Oh, I know the ghoul. I know the ghouls," type of stuff. So it makes that connection point, but at the same time, it has nothing to do with what you know from the games. I wouldn't be surprised if they show a dog, but maybe they would call him dog meat. I'd be okay with that, right? They just show a dog, and they're like, "Oh, I love your dog." Oh, dog meat. That'd be a nice little tip of the hat. So it's not in the universe. It's in the universe, okay, but it takes place 200 years after. I'm pretty sure. Let me look it up. I'm pretty sure. Okay, the plot of Fallout is set in 2296 219 years after the Great War of 2077, which has killed a vast majority of humanity in the nuclear holocaust. Lucy, a resident of Vault 33, is located in the ruined city of Los Angeles and has spent her entire life underground and is set to the surface on a rescue mission to save her father, Hank. So there you go. So it's 219 years after. So let me see when... I think it's Fallout 76 is the... Fallout 76 takes place in 2102. Okay, so there you go. So it takes place 117 years after Fallout 76. Oh, is it 10 years after Fallout 4? Fallout 4 takes place... Oh, 2287. So Fallout 76 is actually earlier on. Yeah, I'm mistaken there. So Fallout 76 is actually early on. Oh, so this could actually really connect to Fallout 4 then. Aha. Well, see, now I'm even more interested. It says Fallout 4 takes place in 2287, 10 years after the events of Fallout 3, in 210 years after the Great War between the United States and China over natural resources found in the nuclear holocaust in 2077. So there you go. There you go. That takes place. It takes place in 2296. So 2287 to 2296. So 11 years. 11 years after Fallout 4. There you go. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff then they can pull from, and it's even more now for the fans of the Fallout series, Fallout games. We might get Sarge to play Fallout 76. We gotta find the code for him, but because someone gave him a code, I gotta find it. All right, it's 12:30, and I gotta edit some videos and whatnot. I appreciate you guys coming out. Again, this show will be over on Nerding with 30. So if you guys are not subscribed to my other channel, Nerding with 30, go check it out. It's Nerding with 30. As it says, Nerding with 30. You can see it down below, right below my screen right here. Go check it out. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. These will take place over there. All the stories that I've done tonight will be separate videos over there because I'm trying to give more content over on that channel. So once a week, Friday nights. If it's not Friday night, it'll be Saturday night. I'm going to try to do Friday nights and have conversations about entertainment news instead of gaming news, and have different type of content for you guys. Same content, but different content. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it very much. Right now, hit that like button for the thing. If you're not subscribed for 30 NSG, let me, hit it up down there. If you'd like to become a member, as low as $5, you become a member. This video will now be privated on this channel because I'm going to take this one off of here because it wasn't supposed to be on this channel. And I don't want it to fuck up my algorithm. So if you have to wait a couple days now to see any of the stories I covered tonight over on Nerding with 30. I appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.